There's a variety of tropes that a series will regularly use. For Fallout, among such a list is the all-consuming, large, unstoppable force that eliminates town after town, and often the most barbaric and grotesque ways. Let's talk about the Horde. So, the defining feature of the Horde is primarily in the name, the sheer size of the antagonistic group, as well as their desire to fight, pillage towns, and leave nothing but carnage in their wake. They may take slaves, or future minions to join their ranks, as well as food or other resources, whatever they can carry as they move on to their next target. The Horde may be ruled by a cunning or strong leader, or be disorganized with only the love of hoarding being what keeps the barbaric groups together. The Horde is brutal, unforgiving, and often disgusting. It's a very simple way of painting an unforgivable, antagonistic force, and is popular both in fiction and as a real-life piece of propaganda. In fictional works, the application of the concept can come in multiple flavors, so naturally, Fallout has their own hordes. Fallout often uses the Horde as a main antagonist. The supermutants come to mind. In many ways, one could consider the supermutants to be an XP for orcs. Both are large, muscular, often green or yellow brutes who make for excellent fighters, and it's pretty common to have orcs make up the bulk of a fantasy horde, though that may also include other creatures like goblins or ogres. Let's start with the original game. In Fallout 1, supermutants were a group that raided vaults and caravans fairly regularly. This was mostly an attempt to increase their numbers to an exponential size, as well as perform experiments to see the correlation between radiation levels and mutant intelligence. Still, they're perhaps not a true horde with a lot of their practices. While in the early versions of the first Fallout, they would eventually destroy town after town while making their way to Vault 13, that was eventually removed, with the only exception being the destruction of Necropolis within a certain amount of time. In addition, they utilize clever tactics like religion to mask what they're doing, which is pretty atypical to what a horde is known for. Still, at the time, they did have the numbers and do invade vaults. And for what it's worth, Marcus will call them a horde in Fallout 2.
Too many people. I've done my traveling with a horde.
Nevertheless, the West Coast supermutants eventually became more of a people rather than just an antagonistic group. Not true for the supermutants on the East Coast, however. They have a bit more of that invading horde nature in them. They attack towns, caravans, capture and eat humans. They love to fight quite a lot. They're very orcish in nature. However, what may break the idea of them being a horde is that they're usually not banded together, at least not in Fallout 4 or 76. In Fallout 3, they all seem to commune around Vault 87, or at the very least recognize that as their home and, fruitlessly, search for more FEV, suggesting a level of kinship that extends beyond their desire to fight, but rather make more of themselves. Another horde that may not play it entirely straight would be the Scorched. While they have attacked and destroyed all the settlements long before the main game, they haven't done so out of their own desires for battle or violence. Rather, the Scorched are victims of a disease that links them to a hive mind of the Scorched Queen, and left on their own, they simply wander around aimlessly looking for people to attack. What is possibly more of a true horde is Caesar's Legion. They have long practiced wiping out tribes and towns. They enslave others, abduct children to raise into legionaries, and move from location to location as they carve out a path of destruction. It's interesting that the ones that reflect the most monstrous horde is nothing more than men. While supermutants look the part and even have some of that spirit, the Legion plays the part to near perfection. That said, Caesar's Legion does have some cleverness. Sabotage and deception are often tools that they employ, so it's not all attacking with overwhelming strength or numbers. While Caesar's Legion is perhaps the only group that fits the traditional take on the horde to the letter, supermutants and Scorched certainly have their aspects. There's other horde-like creatures out there, but most are animalistic and don't actively search for towns to raid, but rather simply attack with overwhelming numbers in a set location, like ghouls in a tunnel or robots in an abandoned building. There's raiders too, but they often only target goods to grab and usually don't care about wiping out an entire population, much less moving on to the next one. Though the Fiends have displayed a small shade at that when they took out Vault 3. We might have more horde-like foes in the future, maybe more true hordes depending on the nature of the group, perhaps experiments or another warring culture. Though, while they're definitely fun, some could be a bit tired of them. They're often one-dimensional and have the designated evil morality with no shade of gray. But a strong, truly evil villain may also be desired. What's your thoughts? Do you enjoy a horde, or are they far too simple for your taste? And a special thanks to my channel members, especially my Members Twice Over guys like the Crazy Game Developer and Danny McPhee. And if you want to support me and join as well, I'd be more than happy. Also, feel free to join my Discord server and chat with us. Thank you, have a good one.